East Leeds, Leeds, Yorkshire, Europe, the world, the universe, the multiverse. Writing on air.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here up in Studio 3, our radio theatre. We've had the first of our live events this afternoon, which was really, really good. It was brilliant. A piece of kind of experimental, in-progress theatre and musings on the theme of Jerusalem, as in the Blake poem, as in the song. And I'd thoroughly recommend going back and listening to it. You can listen to everything on the website as from probably tomorrow, but do listen to that. It was great. And we've got programs and we've got events all the way through up to about 10 o'clock tonight. So matters to look forward to, and thank you for coming along here in the live audience, but also for listening and also for watching, because we're being live streamed as well. But now it's a real pleasure to introduce Irene Lofthouse, who's an old friend of Chapel FM, has done lots here in the past, but this is a piece she's going to tell you about, I'm sure, that is new. It's You Can Take the Girl Out of Ireland. Give a round of applause please for Irene Lofthouse.
The 5 Fs, she said, as we stood in the middle of the personal products department in the supermarket, some weeks after a mini stroke. Short trip to get a walk in, out and about again, and to choose the right products, not the wrong ones that I kept taking back for her. So I'd got her out there and she's in the middle of the supermarket aisle and out she comes, as loud as you could possibly hear with, the 5 Fs. Now, I'd got used to Mum's comments, strange comments, over the years. Things like, I'll be going up Shani's. Going up Shani's what? What does that mean? She didn't ever give me an answer. Or, standing there like cheese at 4p. Does that mean it's good cheese because it's a lot of money? Or does it mean it's bad cheese and it's all green and it's cheap? We don't know. Or, red and green should never be seen. So here I am wearing red and green in honour of me mum. So this is a story about me mum. We've got a theme here about home. And here is mum. You can't quite see her, but you can have a look at her later on. This is me mum from Ireland. And here she is with a rifle and a very blood-stained pinny. And this is a picture that we found after she died. Because when you're going through all that stuff in somebody's house, you suddenly come across lots of things. And we found lots and lots of negatives of a box brownie, the box brownie that I have at home, and I got them developed. And this was one of the pictures. And at the wake, my sister, who's a generation younger than me, who's a vegetarian, now a vegan, saw this and went, "She's got a rifle! What's she doing with a rifle? And what's all that stains all over her pinny?" Well, that'll be blood, Diane, you know. And she lived on a farm, because that's really all I know about my mum when I was a youngster. I just put that down. Because when you're at home with somebody, you don't actually hear their accent all that time because it's around you all the time. And we lived in Bradford, where I was born, but all I really knew was that she came from Ireland. And the other one that she also used to say, one of her sayings was, "I haven't a bull's notion. I only know 2 notions that bulls have. One of that is to absolutely trample you to death when you're walking through a field, and the other one is procreating." So I have no idea what she was thinking of when she said, "I haven't a bull's notion," as she'd say. And she was a bit of a mystery to me. There were lots of us. I come from a family of 7. There were 4 lads before me, then a lad, and then a lass. And I don't know whether it was to do with expectations or not about what a girl should be. I have no idea. But we had a fraught relationship. I don't remember a lot of my relationship with my mum when I'm a child at all. I've only got instances, images. In fact, actually, looking at some of the pictures from the box brownie of me, I don't recognise me. I don't even think that I look like me, but the brothers tell me that it's me, so I have to believe them, because it could be somebody else. So I've been thinking about memory. I do a lot of writing. I'm a writer. I'm a storyteller. I'm a social historian. I collect and do projects on oral history. I go out and tell hidden histories and secret stories. And then it kind of came to me, because I tell people at the end of stuff when I'm doing things, you know, your story's unique. You ought to be writing this down. You know, that box that you've got in your attic that you've inherited from your mum, your dad, your gran, there'll be something in there for me as a social historian that is gold dust. And then I kind of thought, why am I not doing it then? Telling everybody else to do it, and I haven't done any of this. So maybe I ought to start thinking about it. And so during the pandemic, I actually did start to do some courses on memoir. One with Leeds Beckett University, which was actually a project about women creatively aging creatively, even though nobody liked that title, but about how have things changed for us over time. And a lot of the exercises that they used while we were doing that were about memoir, about what do you remember, to dig deep into those memories. And a lot of the things that came out were about my relationship with my mum. I also started another course, which is a Kathy Rensenberg one, which, again, she's done a lot about memoir. And I started writing, and as I started to write about the memoir, which was initially about my birth, which I'll say in a minute, I suddenly realised as I looked at it and talked to other people who were on the course, who went, whose memoir is this? Is this my memoir? Is it my mum's memoir? Is it a memoir about both of us, our identity, our relationship, our sense of belonging, and the similarities that we'd had, and actually the things that if we'd have shared, we might have had a better relationship? And coming back to things about expectations, I know she came from a farm, and later on she told me that her family had lived in Virginia, in Ireland, for over 300 years. And where we lived when I was growing up was on a big estate. It's now called a sink estate, but it wasn't the same as that in the 50s and the 60s, early 60s. And it's by lots and lots of woodland, it's by farms, and I think she felt at home there because she could walk into the woods to Ravenscliffe Farm and discuss cabbages and cows and milking. And we got the milk from churns because he still had them then, you know, and you could go take your cabbages and your spuds home and all that kind of thing. So I think that kind of linked for her. But coming back to the memoir and about me and her, was the story of my birth is that it's the late 50s, we're in a house on the estate. Somewhere in this house are 4 brothers, no idea where they are, because nobody ever told me where they were. However, my mother is in the living room under the table, heavily pregnant with me. In fact, contractions have started. There's an open fire in front. John Boy, my dad, who is supposed to be going to get the midwife, who will go, yeah, I'm not doing that though, am I? Not till I've had my hair done. And I've got myself shaved and sorted, and then I'll go get the midwife, and then I'll leave you to it. So off he went, and he did get a midwife, who came sometime later, apparently, as my mother's still under the table, contracting, out and out. She's been a nurse. She's already delivered 4 children. She delivered any number of animals, so she knows what's happening. And the midwife came, who apparently was drunk, but decided, my mother under the table, go, you know, that needs filling with hot water, so get it done now, because it's coming soon. So the woman does and fills a plastic bucket and puts it in front of the open fire. Think of what happens there. My mother's going, the fuck you doing? What you doing? And apparently goes into labour with me, who comes out with umbilical cord strapped around my neck that she then had to sort out because the midwife is fast asleep in the chair. So I think that maybe the expectations of what a girl would be and wouldn't be as much trouble as the boys kind of started there, really, with me, with the umbilical. And I also remember her saying to me about, oh, you were born on a Thursday. Well, when I started the memoir and I looked it up, I wasn't. So I didn't have far to go. Apparently, I'm fair of face because I was born on a Tuesday, full of grace, in fact. So that bit about remembering and understanding and were what you were telling me actually true or not, I don't know. So I decided that I was going to think about my mum and Ireland, and because my 3 eldest brothers were born in Ireland, and then the rest of us are born in Bradford, where exactly is our home and who are we? My mum was Irish, 300 years. On my dad's side, 2nd generation Irish. Does that make me a Bradfordian? Does it make me English? The 3 eldest have got Irish passports. We've got English ones. So it's kind of looking at about that. I know the expectation, she was there. One of the things, for example, is apparently my sister told me when I was about 45 that I stand in front of a mirror and close my eyes while I do my hair. And so I had never realised this, that my eyes are literally closed whilst I am plaiting my hair. And I think that is because that's what my mum used to do. All that time through childhood, with my hair down my back, she plaited, she did my hair. So anytime I'm stood there, she is literally there behind me because that's how I'm doing my hair. So although I don't think we've got that connection, there is that connection. She was there with all my accidents, because I had loads of them. Falling off walls, playing off ground tig and breaking your wrists, slicing your artery open and filling the kitchen with blood, all sorts, falling out of trees and all sorts of things. And I know that she was there, but I don't have any pictures of it at all. Things that she used to say as well that were to do with her being in Ireland, like you'd say, well, what do you think about this, ma'am? San Ferrian to it. San Ferrian. Mother, you're speaking French? What do you mean I'm speaking French? San Ferrian? I don't know what you're talking about. Ça de faire rien means nothing at all. Or don't you be touching those, you'll weed the bed. Yes, the dandelions, the pissoir, because that's what they are, mother, they're a diuretic. They are dents de lion, the teeth of the lion. More French, because her hometown, Virginia, in Ireland, in Cavan, allegedly, we're still trying to work this out, or I am, was a garrison town for Lizzie I against the French. Said, so somewhere deep in your psyche, there is that French. She wouldn't have it. Well, we never did any of that at school. I didn't do any of that. No English stuff. We didn't do that. I'm an Irish Protestant in Catholic Ireland, as it became, because Cavan was going to be one of the 6, the northern counties. So I didn't know anything really much about her until my 30s, when that was the first time that I went to Ireland with her. So cue music, maestro.
Take me home to the place.
The Yorkshire bit, bearing in mind that she'd now lived in England for twice as long as she'd lived in Ireland, but of course we were going home because it was always home. Once we got on the boat across, it thickened and thickened again, and as soon as we got off and met Bella, my cousin, the wife of my cousin, that was it. As thick as you can be, straight back into being the Irish. And that was it. Enough. We went there. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I just don't understand what you're talking about. And who's this and who's that and who's died and who's this and that and the other. And as soon as we got to the farm, because the family over there still have the farm, and I never met a single one of them at all. So I'm already in my mid-30s, never met most of the family. I met one brother down in London, and that was it. So we get there, and they got the accent's gone. She's back into the rhythm of the farm. She's out to see the cows. She's going for a chat. She's got back into, yes, well, all the lads have their food before we do. What? What are you on about? I sit down and we come in and we just make it all. I come from, and I'd come from the house where we've all got the lads, and there's me for several years until I were 11. There were just me and 5 lads. I'm not sitting down before, they're not sitting down before me. I'm having it, you know. If I'm doing washing up and tidying and all the rest of it, I'm eating food at the same time. No, what they do here is the lads, because they're the workers, what do you mean they're the workers? You've just been out doing the cows. Right, okay, I need to step back and just watch and observe, because this is not the woman that's at home. For the start, she's laughing. And we just didn't get very much laughter at home. And because she'd left several times, and by the time I'm 30 now, she hadn't lived at home for years and years and years, was really interesting just seeing her doing that. So it was, you know, who got married, who died, who'd had children, who'd not had children, who'd divorced, you know, all of that kind of thing. And then a few days later, she told us that, Bella, my cousin, told us that there was, there's going to be a fundraiser at the rugby club, because Virginia, for those of you that don't know it, in fact, when I got there, I thought, I'm in Bingley, because it just looked like Bingley to me. There's a straight street, there's the church at the end, there's yew trees, and it just looked like an English village street, and maybe that's the kind of Irish Protestantism that she had, my mum. But there's also a massive lake, and we were there. It was August bank holiday. And you could walk down to the lake, Lake Rammer, and I'm sitting there on my Todd at this lake, and it's bank holiday, and I'm thinking, Windermere, Grasmere, Buttermere, you won't be able to move in the Lake District, and there's me and this lake. It was fantastic. And with a Michelin, 3-star Michelin restaurant next to it and golf course, I'm going, where's the people? And there's a sports club on the lakeside. This is where they were going to have the fundraiser. And it's a tea dance. Okay, says I. Right, okay. So 3 o'clock, you know, I'm English. There is this bit of English in me. 3 o'clock, that's when you have a tea dance. 3 o'clock, we're going down. So we're going down to, no, sure, it's too early yet. Okay, right. 5 o'clock, tea dance? No, it's too early yet, says Bella. Right, okay, I'll just go play with the cats then. I'll talk to Fiona, my second cousin, who's 14, and catch up and have a, you know, journey around the farm and all that kind of thing. And then we're sitting down listening to the news at 7 o'clock, and this is the news, and da-da-da. Oh, and just so everybody knows, Mrs. O'Shaughnessy's remains will be removed by 8 o'clock tonight, so you have until 8 o'clock tonight to see her. And Mr. O'Toole's, his remains will be removed. I'm sitting there listening going, what does this mean? So I've got to ask, you know, what does remains will be removed mean? Well, the coffin. Obviously, the coffin will be removed. I'm thinking, you don't get this on BCB or Chapel FM radio in Bradford and Leeds, do you? The remains will be removed. Right, okay, very different. So 9 o'clock at night, I'm going, so this tea dance, we've missed it then. Have we missed it? No, give it about another hour, and that'll be about right. Right, okay. So we wandered down at 10 o'clock to the tea dance in the sports club. There's no pavements at all as you're walking down the road, so we're on the road itself. Everybody's chatting, it's very dark. We get there, and it is a tea dance. Yes, in the corner, there is a combo playing music. There is a whole row of food that people have made, sausage rolls, cakes, etc. There's a big tea urn, there's coffee, lasses are dancing together in the corner while the music's playing, and Fiona, my second cousin, 14, sitting down, and this is kind of like 30 years ago now, and she's going, so Irene, is it like this, you know, the dancing and things where you are? And I'm going, no, if all those lasses were dancing together where I am, it'd be a very different kind of dance place we'd be at. Oh, what does that mean? I'll tell you later, Fiona, I'll tell you later. So we're having tea, we're having a chat, people are getting up dancing, etc. And then at about 11:30, because it's divided is this room, the divider's open because the rugby clads have just come in. And then all of a sudden, so there's a big, you know, chaos of noise and all the rest of it. And then Bella realises that the bar's open. The bar's open. What the feck are we doing sitting here drinking feckin' tea when the feckin' bar's open? Fiona, go now and get the drinks. You know what I'd have? Yeah, mine's a brandy. And you know what Millie will have? Millie's having a brandy and baby sham, and she herself, me, will have a white wine. So off goes Fiona. Bar's not bothered that she's only, 14. And I'm looking at my mother going, brandy and baby sham? She don't drink brandy and baby sham. She don't drink. No, little sherry now and again, if they come round and we're all sitting there having a chat about who's doing what and da-da-da-da on Revo and elsewhere. And I'm, right, okay, brandy and baby sham. And my mother's absolutely in her element. She's talking to everybody. There's all these people that she hasn't met, people from school that she was in Billis and all the rest of it for some time. Chat, having a right laugh, looks round. She's probably on a 4th brandy and baby sham by now. And I'm thinking, this is not the woman that I know at all, kind of getting louder and louder as the music gets louder and louder. And then this chap comes up to her and leans over while we're all sitting and goes, hello there, Mrs. Woman. What? And she looks at him, my mum, she's looking at, hello there, Mrs. Woman. Not seen you for years. Shall we dance Delight Fandango? Delight Fandango. And up she gets. My mother dancing. I'm in my mid-30s. I have never once seen her dance in my life. And off she is. For the next 2 or 3 hours, she's brandy and baby shamming and dancing and moving around these chaps. This is a chap apparently that she'd been at school with. She's laughing. And I cannot believe that this is the same woman. She's telling jokes. She's, the life and soul of the party is, and I'm having to rethink and think about what my mum was like at home when I was growing up, and thinking about whether or not this is what life would have been like if they hadn't been moved to Bradford with the 3 eldest brothers that were born in Ireland. What would life have been like had we stayed in Ireland? What would life have been like if she just stayed there and I had never existed? Which for a lot of people would probably have been a good thing. And particularly for her. I mean, I also used to say to her, why have you called me? Where did Irene come from? My name. Where? There is no other Irene in the family. And let's face it, Mother, Irene is the Greek goddess of peace. And you never got any of that from me. So where did it come from? And strangely, when she was in Bradford, I appeared eventually. And so she wrote to her sister, who she had not seen for years and years in Ireland, to tell her that she'd got a lass at last. And her sister wrote back and went, well, 18 months ago, I had a lass at last, and I called her Irene. There are no Irenes in the family. I've done the family tree. There aren't any. So really weird. So we're there, we're dancing, all the rest of it. So, look, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and we're still there, we're still dancing, she's still dancing, having a right good time. And then the bloke who was doing the music went, right, well, I think they want us to go now. So, I tell you what, there's all this still here, there's all the food still here. So, we're not going until it's all sold. So, we're going to have an auction. So, who'll give us a pound? Who'll give us a pound for Mrs. Terrace's cake? Who'll give us a pound for this and the sausage rolls? And there's a lad there, I'll not name him, who'd been working on the farm with him, back at Bella's farm, who was on the dole, who lived in the old house that some of my mum's folks used to live in, and basically him and his mum lived on spuds. You never saw his mum at all. I mean, very kind of stereotypical, but it was. So the lad, seeing all this food, because he makes a change from spuds, mashed potatoes and all the rest of it. Well, he's dancing up and down, I'm nearly kicking everything over here now. He's dancing up and down and me, I will, me. So he's stuffing cake in his pockets, in his inside pockets and everything. And then right at the very end, there's just some sausage rolls left. And my mum, Millie, or Mrs. Woman as she became known after this, Mrs. Woman, after this, was like, so where are you going to put those then? I know, I'll put them down here. So it's just bulging everywhere down his trousers, and my mother is absolutely wetting herself. Totally wetting herself. I've never seen her laugh like that. Never seen her so sociable, so in with people, having such a good time with all these people that she knew. So for me, I'm the outsider now because I don't know any of these people. I don't even know my family. And to see her in there was like, this is where you should have probably stopped. And 6 o'clock, we're kind of on the way home, but actually my other half was going to meet me on that particular day in the morning, driving down after the ferry had got in. So I thought, there's no point in me walking all the way back to the farm to then walk all the back to Virginia again to meet him. So I said, I'll just stop in the town, you go back. And all I could hear as she was walking back down with Bella and Fiona with arms linked in the dawn was her singing, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. My mother's singing. She's dancing, singing, and brandy and baby shamming. And from that was, I think, the first time, having shared that we actually started to have a relationship that was more of an adult relationship, more of what we could share together, because I saw her do crosswords and reading and things that we could share that we had never done before. So taking her out of a usual milieu back into home really made a difference. And because she loved that song, she couldn't stand Irish music. Diddly-dee, 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 diddly-dee-dee. Can't stand it. But the country and western, which was all that was played at Bella's, when she died, that was the music that we played. And she is buried back at home. And there's another story about that, which will at some stage take part in this memoir, because it's a work in progress to discover the similarities. Because as I went through later on talking to her as she aged, was all about her difficulties with having periods, the problems that she had. She was a carer for her mother. I ended up caring for the household, looking after my sister when my mum disappeared. Why she didn't leave earlier, I don't know, but that's a different story. So we had a lot in common that we'd never shared, and it was only then, once I'd been to Ireland with her, and I could see the similarities in us that we could discuss. So this is a work in progress. I do have some pictures here of her in Ireland, because that was a revelation to us when she died, because even my brothers had never seen the pictures of themselves as babies. So, in memoriam to Mrs. Woman, as she was forevermore, I'm going to finish again with a rendition for her, which you'll absolutely hate, of Country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. Thank you.
From Seacroft, East Leeds, Yorkshire, Europe, the world, the universe, the multiverse. Writing on air.
Strange land, it's a soul sequence show businessman. I'm floating over strange land and it's strange.